Now, for the past month or so, I've been having a lot of fun in testing out the Osmo Pocket 4 from DJI. It pretty much changes the game again in terms of pocket cameras with the ability to record the 4K at 240 frames per second. We obviously have a full review on the channel. If you haven't checked that out, definitely do so. But in this video, I want to compare how the Pocket 4 compares against the 17 Pro that I've been using, as well as my full dedicated camera that we're shooting with right now, the Canon R8. We're going to go through a whole bunch of example scenarios on what each camera excels at, and obviously switch between all three of them in those specific scenarios. We're right now outside, kind of in a scenic background. I've pretty much hidden away from you, but we'll see what the DJI Pocket 4 looks like in this shot. Now, what you're looking at right now is the DJI Pocket recording in the D-Log color profile. We have a pretty overcast day. There's some sun coming in and out, and so the lighting is going to be dynamic. But what we're going to do is basically see what D-Log looks like compared to standard. So let's switch to standard and see what that looks like. Okay, so now this is the standard 10-bit color profile, and I think sometimes standard looks better than D-Log. Obviously, it depends on how you convert it. We do have the official Pocket 4 D-Log Rec 709 conversion from DJI themselves, so we'll try to match up what it looks like based on the standard colors on both clips. Okay, so now we switch over to the iPhone 17 Pro recording in its standard 4K 60 FPS recording setting. We'll switch to the ProRes Apolog 2 in a little bit, but this is pretty much what the 17 Pro looks like in the exact same situation. Okay, so now we'll switch to Apolog 2 recording in ProRes, and this is certainly the most capable the iPhone 17 has ever been. You get a great amount of dynamic range with the Apolog 2 color profile, not to mention the ProRes format is very data intensive, but super optimized for professional workflow applications. And we'll see how the dynamic range is. Obviously, the lighting is changing due to cloud cover, but we should have a fairly even lighting. It's an overcast day, so not too much in terms of harsh contrasts. Okay, so now we switch to the Canon R8 shooting with a 24mm f1.4 lens at f10. We should have a decent amount of a dynamic range shooting in C-Log 3, and we'll do obviously a Rec 709 conversion in DaVinci. And obviously this lens can completely obliterate the background, one of the advantages of a mirrorless full frame camera. But what we're going to do is obviously a more deep depth of field shots, and I'm going to go a little bit back and forth so you can get an idea in terms of what a full frame mirrorless camera looks like in this exact scenario compared to the other cameras that we tested. Okay, so now we're going to do a little walking test. You're looking at the Pocket 4 right now. We're walking pretty much at a medium pace, nothing too crazy, nothing too fast. And what we're going to do now is go up some steps, which is going to definitely introduce quite a lot of jitter in most cameras. But since we're on the Pocket, it's really no problem. And you can see the overall dynamic range and the colors are fantastic. And probably going to be certainly the best result out of the three. Okay, so now we switch over to the iPhone 17 Pro. We're going to do the exact same test. It's going to be obviously fairly stable since I think the iPhone 17 is excellent for a scenario like this when you're walking at a medium pace. Going up the steps, and you can see that it probably looks pretty good even on standard color profile. And last bit of steps, and that's pretty much it. Okay, so now we're on the Canon R8 using the little tripod stick method because I really can't hold this camera up for too long. And we're also using the electronic stabilization. Might be a little bit of wobbly effect. This is going to be quite challenging for this camera to resolve some smooth looking footage, but it shouldn't be too bad if I walk a little bit smooth like that. We're shooting at f2.8, so we should get some nice background separation. And obviously the colors and overall image is definitely going to look the most polished. Okay, so now we're on the 17 Pro and shooting in the standard picture profile. Even though the skin tones are not that great, definitely would recommend shooting Apple Log 2 in ProRes if you have enough data and if you want the best quality image. But obviously the iPhone is with you everywhere you go, so it's even better and more convenient than the DJI in that aspect. But what are the trade-offs? Well, the stabilization not as good, and I think if you're not going to do any color correction post-wise, the image out of the default camera app I don't think is as good as the Pocket, and certainly not as good as a real camera, but super convenient, and really the best camera is always the one that you have with you, and certainly the iPhone from both photos and videos is a very versatile camera, plus we have all the different lens selections. Okay, so now we switch over to the Pocket 4 in the exact same scenario. Certainly going to be rock steady in terms of smoothness, and honestly this is definitely the ultimate vlogging camera. There's no question about it. Super small, has the best stabilization, and when you're shooting the standard picture profile, I think it looks great straight out of camera. As we demonstrated with the D-Log, with the full D-Log profile, it definitely makes it look a lot more natural and realistic, but some people want that vibrant, kind of poppy, sharp image, and I think the standard picture profile does a great job of giving you a great presentable image, certainly for social media distribution. So big fan of the Pocket 4 and a big fan of the stabilization. Okay, so now we're back on the Canon R8 shooting wide open at f1.4. This is actually what it looks like when you're just hand holding the camera with nothing really to stabilize, and even if you're really strong in the shoulders, you're still going to get tired eventually. It does offer a very unique perspective and look. You still get the sense that I am in the city, but obviously there is a great amount of subject isolation. Okay, so now we've locked off onto a tripod, and I just want to demonstrate the big advantage of the mirrorless system is the fact that we can change out the lenses. So right now we're 24 millimeters, and we can obviously zoom in to the Pocket 4 image. It has a 2x lossless, but it actually doesn't change the optics of the lens. It's basically digitally zooming in, and it has enough resolution within the 9 megapixel sensor to give you a 4K image, but it's quite noisy. It doesn't really change the perspective too much. You don't get the background separation that you would get from a typical portrait or telephoto lens. And obviously the iPhone does have a great telephoto lens, but the low light performance and the overall dynamic range of that telephoto isn't as optimized as the main camera. If you want to get the best bokeh effect, you actually want to be shooting the main 24 millimeter lens, since it is the largest sensor size, and go quite close into the lens as well. Now we switch over to the Canon 85mm f1.8 USM. This is actually from the early 2000s, but it still looks great, super sharp, very contrasty. And one of the big advantages of a telephoto slash portrait lens in the 85mm is that it compresses the facial dimensions quite a bit, so it's very flattering. It also compresses the background quite a bit, so you get great amount of separation, and this lens is probably the best bang for the dollar Canon portrait lens you can get, and it autofocuses brilliantly, as you can see over here, very fast and very smooth. We're shooting wide open at f1.8, and let me know what you guys think. Okay, so now you're looking at my main studio setup, which is the Canon R8 with a 24mm lens, shooting typically wide open at f1.4. We typically have one key light with a grid, a softbox hitting on one side of the face, then we have a bounce on the opposite side, so we have a little bit of fill, and then we have some interesting stuff in the background. You might have more or less ambient light depending upon the video that we're making, but typically this is kind of the high contrast setup that we go for. But let's see what the overall colors and this scene looks like with the Pocket 4. Now we switch to the Pocket 4, and I did make sure that the white balance is set pretty much the same based on our key light over here. And obviously we can fine tune the white balance a little bit more in DaVinci if we need to, but looking at the standard color profile, it is a little bit too sharp at times, especially for a close-up shot like this. And you can turn on the glamour as well as turn down the texture settings within the fine controls. But let's actually take a look at the full D-Log color profile to see if skin tone and overall natural look is improved. Okay, so now we switch over to the D-Log color profile, and we'll do a Rec 709 conversion in DaVinci, but using the official Pocket 4 LUT from DJI. And we'll tweak the colors if we need to, again, the same white balance and everything, but typically I find with the D-Log color profile, it's a lot more natural looking. Doesn't have the same over-sharpening artifacts and kind of that enhanced HDR look, which actually looks pretty good outside, but can be a little bit jarring, especially for indoor conditions. And if you want the more natural look as well as the more flexibility in post color correction, certainly D-Log is the way to go. Okay, so now we're shooting with the iPhone 17 Pro, basically using the default colors, the H.265 codec in the standard color profile, 4K 60, and we are going to make sure that we have the white balance set correctly so it matches up with everything. And the way I'm actually monitoring my framing is actually using the Blackmagic app, which is probably the best camera app in my opinion, and it also gives you the most flexibility when recording ProRes, which we'll switch to next. Okay, so now we're shooting Apple Log 2 in ProRes 422 color space, and we'll do obviously a Apple Log 2 to Rec 709 transform in DaVinci. And I think honestly the skin tones, the overall dynamic range, and the color science of Apple Log 2 especially looks fantastic. You obviously can record RAW with an external recorder, and if you want to unlock a lot of the features without the external recorder, again, I would recommend the Blackmagic app highly. Plus, I think this definitely is a more flexible solution than even the Pocket, in my opinion. If I had to pick between shooting in Apple Log 2 versus the D-Log color profile, I prefer Apple Log 2 all day. It looks a lot more natural. The dynamic range, the overall natural sharpness and clarity that you get out of the main camera just looks better and more natural, just to be completely honest with you. Not quite as good as my Canon R8, but certainly awesome for a smartphone nonetheless. Okay, so now we'll switch to the iPhone 17 Pro, recording in ProRes in Apple Log 2. Now, we're not going to do a very aggressive Rec 709 conversion because I just want to basically see how much information we're holding in the shadows and highlights with just a single light source. So let's see how the iPhone fares up against the other cameras in this extreme test. Okay, so this is the Pocket 4 recording in the standard color profile. We're not actually in the low light mode, but I just want to see how the standard color profile in the normal mode fares up against this low light situation. But let's go ahead and also switch to D-Log. Okay, here is D-Log. We should have a little bit more shadow details and perhaps a little bit more highlight information as well. But let's go ahead and actually look at the low light mode specifically. Okay, now we're in the low light mode, and this is actually significantly better than the previous generation Pocket based on our side-by-side experience. Way less noisy in the shadows and a lot more detail in shadow and highlights as well. And it looks pretty great straight at a camera. So if you don't want to record D-Log, this is definitely one of the best settings to record low light video on the Pocket 4. The only caveat is limited to 4K 30 frames per second. Okay, so now we switch over to the Canon R8 shooting wide open at f1.4 at 12,800 ISO. Now, this camera can shoot a lot higher than that, but 12,800 is actually quite usable, clean, overall shadow detail, as well as great highlight retention as well. But I'll show you if we push this camera that we'll definitely get quite a lot more information in pretty much areas where you can't even see with your naked eye. So let's go ahead and push the ISO a little bit more. Now here's 25,600, and you can see it pretty much almost lights up the room. And if we go too close, it'll even overexpose my skin. So obviously a full frame mirrorless camera will give you the best low light sensitivity, and having a fast aperture lens is going to be another advantage there. But really, other than that, guys, that's really it. Definitely love to know what you guys think of the new Pocket 4. How does it compare against the other smartphones? Would you still use your iPhone if you had your Pocket 4 with you? And would you lug around a dedicated camera is another big thing. And I personally think it's kind of fun shooting with a dedicated camera, getting creative shots. What you're looking at right now is always kind of interesting, going in a new situation, figuring out the lens that you want. And if you're kind of a camera nerd and kind of a cinematography enthusiast, that's always a fun aspect of this hobby. But if you want the convenient thing, obviously the iPhone is the best choice. It's always with you, and with the ProRes, the image quality is sensational, not to mention all the different zooming options you have with the triple camera array. The Pocket 4 is the best overall camera. It's certainly the best stabilization, great out of the box experience in terms of image quality. I think that the log profile, although looks a lot more natural, is going to take some processing to make it look as good as sometimes even straight out of camera. Even when it comes to dynamic range, at times the log profile, even though we have the new D-Log, the full D-Log compared to D-Log M on the previous generation, I still think that if it was up to me, even though I want the best image quality, I would actually just shoot with the standard profile. It's 10-bit colors. It is a little bit over sharpened at times, but you can adjust that within the camera itself. Not to mention all the beauty filters and all the different tracking capabilities and the slow motion. Obviously, that's the biggest selling factor of the Pocket 4. None of these cameras have the ability to go 4K 240, and you have to spend like an arm and a leg to find any other solution that can give you that capability. So definitely an industry leader, and this is what the Pocket 4 is going to probably be known for a while. My only gripe is that I wish it was a little bit more durable. Wish I had weather sealing, interchangeable battery, and I would love to have a 480 frames per second in 1080p mode, but sadly that's not the case. But overall, if you haven't checked out our full dedicated review video on the Pocket 4, definitely check that out. And I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you real soon. Take care.